What is up, beautiful people all around Elohim's green earth? Hallelujah. All praise be to the Most High. It is November 18th, 2024. We are back here on the Moneypot channel. We are live, and we got a super good live that we're going to be getting into. We got a great conversation that we're going to be talking about tonight as we're talking about this cryptocurrency space and the purpose with investing with crypto and aligning it with your wealth and with values. I think that this is an extremely important conversation. So first off, I just want to thank you for tuning into this video. Make sure you like, comment, share, subscribe, do what you do. But guess what? We appreciate you. And I pray that this live gives you some insight into investing and being able to just be a little bit more discerning with your investing, as well as understanding as to what is coming in the future. And above all these prayers about crypto and investing, I pray that you make sure that your soul is right with the Most High, that you are saved by the blood of Yahshua HaMashiach, for he is the way, the truth, and the life. And we can never forget that. We can never forget that. Like my shirt says, we must put God over money. Ye cannot serve two masters. You cannot serve mammon, which is the lowercase g of wealth, greed, money, and Yahweh. It's Matthew 6:24. And we have to remember that, especially during these times. This is something I had to remind myself last week as we were seeing all these gains in the crypto space. Don't let all these gains and all this increase in your accounts take your heart and your focus away from doing the Most High's will and living according to his way. Hallelujah. All praise be to the Most High. And it's only right. It's only right that we start this live off with talking about, first off, why it is so vital that we seek ye first the kingdom of the Most High and his promises and living according to his way, and rather than the way of the world. Because we see how when people start to gain a lot more money, they typically are able to have a little bit more influence, and then they start getting into some crazy wickedness. And that's not good. So we got to be mindful of those things. We got to guard our heart above all things, because it's deceptively wicked. And the verse that I want to come from today is a proverb. And you may know it, you may not, but this is a great verse, I think, to encapsulate what we're going to be talking about today. And it touches on this promise of righteousness, the promises of righteousness. So we got here Proverbs 13. Got a couple verses highlighted here. And I'm reading from the Amplified version. Alrighty. So I'm going to start at verse 18, where it says, poverty and shame will come to him who refuses instruction and discipline. But he who accepts and learns from reproof or censure is honored. And then the second half that I have highlighted. Verse 22. A good man leaves an inheritance to his children's children, and the wealth of the sinner is stored up for the righteous. I think that this verse is really important right now in two areas. First off, in verse 18. Poverty and shame will come to him who refuses instruction and discipline. That is super vital. That first off, we are disciplined in our walks with the Most High, and we are following and trying to and seeking to be more like Christ on a daily basis. But as we think about how we are supposed to be operating as believers in regards to our finances and with business, we must be disciplined. We must not refuse instruction and sound teaching when it comes to operating in our finances. learn to accept reproof, which is, correction, and being able to understand the times that we're living in, first off. I think that's one thing in regards to some of the messages that I put out in regards to refusing instruction. I'm not going to say that I'm always right, but I do think that I am seeing what is on the horizon in regards to this new financial system. And I'm trying my hardest to wake people up, to help them understand that this digital asset movement is coming, whether you want to get along with Bitcoin or whether you don't. And the word of Proverbs tells us, a wise man foreseeth evil in the future. We know that central bank digital currencies are coming because it's written all in literature that these financial institutions and major banks are putting out. And also, we know that the Most High's word is going to become fulfilled with the mark of the beast. Now, I'm not saying that there's 100% connection between the two, but there must be some correlation because we see digital currency giving entities the ability to turn off and turn on the ability to transact. So we must be mindful of these things and also be preparing for them as well. It's important. Now, in verse 22, this is something that I try to live by. And as I think about building businesses, as I think about even putting out content and investing, a good man leaves an inheritance to his children's children. I don't want for my grandkids to have to work as hard as I did. I want to make life easier for them. I want for them to have a better life. Just as my parents wanted for me to have a better life in comparison to what they experienced, I want for my kids and my children's children to have a better life. And one of the best ways, one of the most passive ways that we can do that is through investing. If we realize that the old system is coming to an end and we have a new system coming, doesn't it make sense to get as involved with this new system as possible? That's just my thoughts. It's just my thoughts. Drop some comments below in the chat and let me know what you think about this, because I want to make sure I'm on the right track. I think I'm on the right track, but are you tracking? Do you feel me on this in regards to leaving an inheritance for your children's children? These are the promises of righteousness. And then following it, it says, the wealth of the wicked is stored up for the righteous. This is why it is so vital that we are seeking the Most High daily in reading His Word, in praying, and being obedient to the Holy Spirit. It is vital. This is not the time to play, y'all. This is not the time to play. The wealth of the wicked is stored up for the righteous. And we are going to see it. We are going to see the righteous receiving the wealth of the wicked. So these are some of the promises of righteousness. It's vital that we read the Most High's Word and not just necessarily watch a sermon or just go to church, but read it for ourselves. Study to show yourself approved as a worker who has no reason to be ashamed unto Elohim. I think I may have remixed that a little bit. Forgive me. Forgive me. Forgive me. So, yes, I agree. I agree. Digital currency is up by about a third since the election. Is that showing this administration's direction? Ooh, that is a great comment, and we're gonna get into that. I'm gonna answer that comment because that is good. Thank you, Miss Denson. Thank you. So I don't want to get too ahead of myself, but we must realize that we must be rooted in righteousness. Okay, that is going to that pays dividends in this life and in the life to come. Hallelujah. All right, so let's keep it pushing. So we are seeing a lot of crypto gains right now. And I want to share this video that I mentioned before. But this is an individual who is an early tech startup guy. He is an early investor in Silicon Valley. He's a Canadian Indian, and he invested very heavily in some Silicon Valley startups. He's a billionaire. All right. And I think that he has a good inkling as to what is on the horizon for cryptocurrency. And I think what we're seeing in regards to just a third of the cryptocurrency market going up since the election is just the tip of the iceberg. Now, listen, we'll touch on this a little bit more, but markets have ebbs and flows. There's ups and there's downs. You got to catch it at the right time. But overall, The whole cryptocurrency space is moving as we see the Trump administration preparing to go into office. Not in office yet, preparing to go into office. And we're seeing huge players in the crypto space being involved with the Trump administration, mainly Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy. Very, very interesting. We've got to be mindful of these things. But I want to show this video here. And I probably showed it in a video before. But listen to what Chamath says in regards to Bitcoin and its halving. The Bitcoin halving happened back in April of this year. April of this year. So we are 6 or 7 months removed from the Bitcoin halving. But listen to what this video says and why I still think that it is an okay time to be investing in Bitcoin. Although it's right near 100,000, it is still a good time because this asset is going to continue to push the throttle. Actually, before I get into this video, I want to show this because I don't know if this was news or not. Bitcoin surpasses the silver market cap, becoming the world's 8th largest asset and becomes the 2nd largest commodity. Yes, Bitcoin is actually considered a commodity, the same as grain, the same as gold and silver. It's considered a commodity. It becomes the world's 8th largest asset after the Trump win. It reaches $1.7 trillion, and this is just as of last week, with ETF inflows increasing and institutional buying happening. I don't like to toot my own horn, but we have mentioned here on the Moneypot, I would say even a year ago, how once the institutional money starts to come into the cryptocurrency space, it is going to grow exponentially, all right? And it is important that we realize that this is the natural progression. This is the natural progression of really just a adoption cycle. And we're going to get into that as well. But let me show you all this video so I can stop talking, okay? I think I've heard enough from myself for right now. Let's listen to an expert, okay? A billionaire, okay? Let's listen to the billionaire and see what he has to say about Bitcoin. All right, let's get on this here. If you can't hear, please let me know.
Look at the pattern of Bitcoin after a halving. Here's a little Bitcoin price analysis for you guys.
Good.
So there's been a couple of halving cycles that have happened. And I asked him to go back and look at the price performance 1 month after a halving, 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, 12 months, and 18 months after a halving. And what you notice is that there are these moments initially where essentially when you go through a Bitcoin halving, people are sort of reassessing what's happening and they're trying to figure it out. That's sort of what I would say happens in the first month and roughly what also happens in the first 3 months. But then within 6 months to a year and 18 months of these things, there are these crazy price appreciation cycles that happen. That's what this page shows, which is, 18 months after the first halving, the Bitcoin price returned 45x. After the second halving, it returned almost 28x. And after this third halving, it returned almost an 8x, which is really incredible returns in such a short period of time. If you go to the next page. And so if you graph that, this is what it starts to show, which is what is this price performance after each of these halving cycles. Now, why is that interesting? Well, it's interesting because on top of this halving, which theoretically, if history is a guide, we should see some price appreciation. Obviously, the other thing that's happened is we've commercialized Bitcoin. And we talked about this sort of as my big prediction for 2024, which is these ETFs are really going to allow Bitcoin to cross the chasm and have its sort of central key moment, right? And so if you apply the averages, and again, these are just averages, they're by no means predictions. Okay, so I just want to qualify that.
Yeah,
these are
this
just
is not financial advice.
It's not financial advice. These are just guesses. Data. We took these and we applied it to the price of Bitcoin. And if you go to the next page, you start to see what could happen if you just take the average of the last few cycles. So because the first cycle was so extreme, and you start to
so you're just doing cycle 2 and 3 here, to be clear.
Just the averages of cycle 2 and 3, and what you start to see is some really meaningful appreciation. And when I talked to Wences about this, how he explained it, which makes a lot of sense to me, is there are a lot of countries that will never look at Bitcoin credibly, even if they support it. The US may be one of those, but there's an increasing body of countries that will become dual currency. And they will look at their local currency, and then they will look at Bitcoin. And they will say both of these two things are needed. One, when you're transacting on a daily basis for random goods and services. And two, when you need to buy a permanent asset that needs to have residual value, you'll use something like BTC. And I think that's a very powerful concept. And if you look at what this price chart could indicate, is that if this thing starts to get to these levels of appreciation, it is going to completely replace gold and start to become something that has transactional utility for hard assets. And I think if you marry that with this worry that some folks have about dollar debasement, you start to see some really interesting opportunities.
Really interesting opportunities. I like the way you put that. And I'll drop this link here in the chat if you'd like to take a look at that. That was a really interesting video. And it was also very telling for me because I would consider these sorts of investors, or at least Chamath, a whale. And a whale is a investor that can move a market. Now, I'm not saying that he is a whale, but he could be a whale because maybe he and his boys, they have pulled together multi-millions amounts of dollars to invest in Bitcoin, and they can move the market. Just think about if they have 100,000 in a coin that is less than $1. They control so much of it. And per this assumption, listen, everything that we're talking about, this is not financial advice. Not considered financial advice. Please, I had to put that disclaimer out here for myself, for my own protection. But these assumptions based on this video that we saw are very, very intriguing. Because as I looked at the 6-month mark, do you know what that 6-month mark said? It said 99,000. Where is Bitcoin at right now? That's a great question. And Elijah, I'm so glad that you asked. Let's bring it up. Let's bring it up. All right, come on. Just show. Let's just show. Bitcoin's at 91,000. 99K, 91K. There's a little leeway room, but it's within a reasonable range. We see it's at 90, basically 91,000. And then 9 months, the prediction was at 238,000. At 12 months was 362,000. And at 18 months was 497,000. And these are just based off of the more conservative cycles. All right? These are just based off the more conservative cycles. And I got that from that video, which I dropped in the chat if you want to go watch it yourself. But very, very interesting. It's relatively close. 6 months, which we are after, 6 months after the halving, we see how much Bitcoin has gained in price. And because Bitcoin moves, everything else moves. And this is what we have to realize when we look at the cryptocurrency space. As the Bitcoin market moves, everything else is going to move. But I don't know how to explain this any best way besides just saying it straightforward. As people see gains in Bitcoin, in their Bitcoin price, they may not necessarily just sell and get back USD. What they may want to do is sell their Bitcoin for another coin. For example, let's say you see a 10K increase in the price of Bitcoin. You may want to not cause a taxable event. So you decide to sell your Bitcoin in exchange for Dogecoin. You sell your Bitcoin for some Dogecoin. And what that does is, first off, it doesn't cause a taxable event, but you are able to ride the wave of other cycles, of other coins and their growth cycles. You may see that Bitcoin over the past 7 days is only at 2% growth. And in the past 24 hours, it's at 1%. But then you look at Solana, and you see that over the past 7 days, it's at almost 9%. You're able to sell your Bitcoin and get into another coin. That's just one way that traders operate. And it's important to know that because when Bitcoin moves, everything else moves. Inflows and outflows come from Bitcoin because it was the OG crypto. And it's important that we realize this. And this is really the conversation that I wanted to have. If you have any questions, please drop them in the comments because I am ready, willing, and able to answer your questions. But that chart that Chamath mentioned, and all that we're seeing with the IMF, with the World Bank, with even the Trump administration, as well as with BRICS, we are seeing everything move towards this digital asset space. Everything is moving towards the digital asset space. And this is the indication for it. This is the proof in the pudding right here. Now, I want to get a little bit deeper because the title of this message is Crypto Investing with Purpose, Aligning Wealth with Values. First off, I already started with the Most High. We had to realize that we must be righteous. We got to be righteous. It's going to pay dividends in this life and in the life to come. But, I'm sorry, there's no but. There's no but. Excuse me. When you are investing with purpose, I want you to try to understand, why are you investing? Ask yourself that question. Why am I investing in this? Why am I investing in this? And if you're taking notes, write that on the notepad. Why am I investing in cryptocurrency? Why do I want to invest in cryptocurrency? Some people may say, oh, I just want to get rich quick. Then write that down. Some people may say, I want to build up a diverse asset of digital assets. A diverse portfolio of digital assets so that I can have diversity in my digital asset class. Others may say other reasons. But ask yourself, why do you want to invest in crypto? That's a very important question to ask because it should drive how you build your strategy. As I think about my strategy, and this is just, what I do. And this is why it's important to have purpose with understanding the cryptos that you have. I'm a long-term crypto investor. And really, what I plan to do is not to stay in crypto forever. I don't plan to stay in crypto because I do believe that is going to be tied with the MLB. And I do believe that is going to, eventually, you're going to have to give up your crypto so that you can exchange it for the CBDC that the United States brings out or the country that you're in brings out. So my goal, eventually, once it gets to the price targets that I have, and I'm going to touch on that, is to get out of crypto and to buy real assets that retain their store value. Yes, I'll probably keep some crypto, but I want to have land. I want to have food and water sources. I want to have protection and silver and gold, amongst other sorts of assets and things that are paid off completely, so I don't have to, Chase is knocking at my door. They're hanging this over my head, that debt over my head. I want to be debt free, but I also want to have real world assets that are going to retain their store value. So with that in mind, and that's why I invest, I look at the cryptos that are going to be worth a lot of value over a longer period of time. And there is a group of cryptos that I believe that are going to be compliant with this new financial system and that are going to be powering it and have a lot and are going to retain their store value essentially. One of the main ones that I talk about here on the Moneypot is XRP. We're going to get an XRP. Another ISO 20022 compliant, ADA, Cardano, Algorand, Stellar Lumens, HBAR, and XDC. All right? I want you to remember those cryptos that I just mentioned. All right? And, if someone could just drop those in the chat so I can keep going. That would be greatly appreciated. Just for other people. Or if you just write them down for yourself, that's fine too. But I want to take a look at what those cryptos are doing right now. Let's first off and see what XRP is doing. The proof is in the pudding, y'all. Look at what XRP is doing. Over the past 7 days, it's up 86% in comparison to Bitcoin, which is only up 2%. Up 86% is insane. All right. That is a lot of gains. I'm pretty sure XRP last week was at, or 2 weeks, yeah, last week was around 60 cents or, 70 cents. And now it's at $1.13. This is just the beginning, first off, for XRP. I'm not going to go into why XRP is so valuable, but just know that it's very much going to be tied with the one world order. Next up, I mentioned ADA, Cardano. Cardano is up 25% over the last week. And even on the 24-hour chart, it is still up more than Bitcoin. The media is going to want you to focus just on Bitcoin. But there are cryptos that are having a lot more gains than Bitcoin. We must understand this. We must realize this and build a digital asset portfolio that is diverse in nature. Okay, 25% over the past week. And yes, I have me some Cardano. I don't play. What's the next one? And listen, don't get hung up on its ranking. Don't get hung up, because most of these cryptos, overall, there's thousands of projects in the crypto space, and most of them are just going to go to zero once these ISO 20022 compliant standards come out for the financial industry. Let's keep it pushing. Stellar Lumens. Stellar, baby. Stellar. And on my Instagram, make sure you guys follow me on Instagram. But I'm gonna start posting, like, The Simpsons even put out a clip of Marge asking Alexa to buy something that's XXL, but then it says, all right, I just purchased Stellar Lumens for you. Very, very interesting. Very interesting. I can't do that. All right, hopefully I didn't miss anything up there. But we see Stellar Lumens up 108%. Stellar Lumens is up 108% over the past week. It up 16% just today. Oh, dang. This is, whoa. I didn't even know that it was up this much. Because listen, when I tell y'all, like, I'm a long-term investor, I don't really focus on the market all like that. But, I'm like, okay, let me take some time and talk about the crypto space. But up 108%, 16% over the past 24 hours. It is vital that you study what you're going to be putting your money into. It's vital. Please let me know if you're losing, if you're losing me or something, because it's showing that I'm losing connectivity. But hopefully you can still hear me. See, they don't want you to have this information. They don't want you to have this information, y'all. So I'm gonna just stick on Stellar. Stellar Lumens was made by Jed McCaleb, who is literally the same individual that created XRP. Just has a different use case. Okay. Thank you. All right. Just going to reconnect here so we can see it live. All right, cool. So Stellar, 108%. Crazy gains over the past week. And guess what? That is more than Bitcoin. 2.4%. I think 100% is a lot higher. Remember why I'm talking about these, okay, y'all? It's because these are the ISO 20022 compliant cryptocurrencies. Hedera, HBAR, another ISO 20022 compliant cryptocurrency. And listen, if you want to understand what this is actually doing, this is actually really building the new financial system. It is building the infrastructure for banks to be able to send cross-border payments and to settle these transactions that are worth millions, billions of dollars. Hedera, HBAR, 141% over the past week and up 51% over the past 24 hours. These are important things to be mindful of. It's moving a whole lot more than Bitcoin. And we got one more, XDC. Where's XDC? Algorand's also a crypto compliant one, ISO 20022. 38% it's not as much as HBAR or even Stellar Lumens, but it's up a lot. It's up 16% over this past week. I'm sorry, over the past 24 hours. I want to find XDC. Where's XDC? Quant. That's another one. It's not up as much, but it's a vibe. It's a vibe. You want a vibe. Where are we at? The last one I'm going to show y'all is XDC. IOTA is also one. XDC is up 44%. These are relatively cheap cryptocurrencies, guys. XDC is up 44%. Why am I saying this, guys? I'm saying invest with purpose. Make sure you have a strategy put together and understand that if you want to be a long-term beneficiary of the cryptocurrency space, make sure you understand the ISO 20022 crypto compliant currencies. Seriously, XRP, Cardano, XLM, XDC, HBAR, IOTA. These are ones we just saw on CoinMarketCap that they are blowing Bitcoin out the water in regards to gains over the past 7 days. But guess what? CNN and the mainstream financial news media, they're only going to tell you about Bitcoin. They're not going to tell you about the coins to actually be in until it's too late. And then you see, oh my gosh, XRP has skyrocketed to $100. What's going on? What is this little no-name crypto? But because you tuned into the Moneypot channel, you knew what was coming. You heard it. You had an inkling. I'm not going to say I was right, but I had an inkling. This is just the beginning of the crypto space growth, all right? We see here that this is the Rogers Innovation Adoption Curve. So we've got the tech enthusiasts. I think that was right before the first Bitcoin cycle happened. You know, back in 08 to probably like 13, maybe even to 16. Then we got the early adopters, the visionaries. These are the tech people, the products and application makers. And this is where I believe that we're still at right now, because we're seeing many major companies start to develop a blockchain strategy, whether it's JP Morgan and Chase, whether it's Amazon, all of the major players in payment processing are looking at blockchain technology because they realize how slow the old system is and how fast the new system is. So they are working on making their applications being able to run on blockchain technology. These are the visionaries. And yes, some retail, us, we are involved in these visionaries as well. These early adopters of this new technology. We have yet to get to the pragmatist stage, the early majority stage. Why? Because we don't see this on tech and the platform makers. We don't see that Apple is allowing for Bitcoin to be sent through Apple Pay. I don't think that that's a function yet, but I do believe it will be. We don't see that even Amazon is taking Bitcoin or cryptocurrency. We don't see that. We're not seeing that Chase is allowing for you to house your crypto with them. But once that happens, that's when I'll be like, okay, we're in the early majority stage. And that is when it's going to be way too late to get into a great entry position. Right now is the time to really take advantage. Just like Chamal said in that assumption model that they provided. In 18 months, the price of Bitcoin could be at $497,000. Just an assumption based on a model from the previous cycles. So we have to be mindful of these things. It's vital that we look at all that's going around and not just do what the banks tell us. This is really important. And I'm not downplaying the importance of having a Bitcoin ETF account. I think those are important too. But you have to realize that is still with a financial institution. And you own that Bitcoin ETF account, but you don't necessarily own the Bitcoin. Now you're getting the gains of the Bitcoin, but you don't own it physically. I truly do think that physical ownership is the most important. And it's the most important to store your cryptocurrency on a cold wallet storage. Not your keys, not your crypto. That is the saying that has been in the crypto space for years. Not your keys, not your crypto. If you don't own your keys, if you don't have your keys, then it's not your crypto. All right, we got to be mindful of that. We got to be mindful of that. One last thing that I'll show before we hop out of here. In regards to the ISO 20022 adoption, I just want to show this graphic as to the migration of governments and their financial institutions onto the ISO 20022 compliant standards. That is some good tea. Some lemongrass tea, I tell you. So one reason I do believe that we're starting to see all these gains is because countries are really starting to utilize this migration and actually start moving money. We see the United States, their migration is planned from 2023 to 2025. And look at the source here, guys. This is from SWIFT, which is the institution that moves billions of dollars around the world on a daily basis. Now, of course, the migration can always be delayed, of course, but by 2025, it says 80 systems targeting to be on ISO 20022. Of these, 50 plus are on the SWIFT network. Very, very interesting. Very, very interesting. Look at these. You know, the only ones that aren't are the ones that it seems like the media makes the bad guys. Russia, Saudi Arabia. So, be mindful of these things, y'all. As we're moving towards this new financial system, be mindful of these things. And listen, I would not be confident in talking about these cryptocurrencies if I did not have them myself. I wish I could show you guys. Maybe next time I will. Just be a little bit more transparent. Can't show you guys everything, but maybe a little things, you know. Because it's important to, like, you know, I've done a lot of research on this, and it's not like my goal, my purpose in life is to serve the Most High and to just be a servant. And it's hard to be effective for the Most High's kingdom if you only have $1. And I don't want for my community, my loved ones to be subject to having to take the mark because they cannot eat, because they cannot drink food, because they cannot go about living. That is a motivating factor for me. To being able to provide for others, to being able to say, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Don't you dare go down there and get that mark. But let me take care of you. And that's one reason why I even see cryptocurrency having it now, before it gets really bad. Because it's going to get bad, y'all. It's going to get bad. There's going to be a time when you can only access your cryptocurrency by having something chipped up in you. We got to get ahead of it. I want to get ahead of it. And that's why over the past 4 years, I've been investing in cryptocurrency slowly but surely. And listen, I'm not investing in crypto that I'm not willing to lose. That's with any sorts of investment. Don't invest anything that you're not willing to lose. That is so, so important. But like the word says, a wise man foreseeth evil and hideth himself. We got to be wise and discerning of these times that we're living in. Persecution of followers of Christ is on the rise. The removal of the Most High and his way from each and every institution, government, schools, nations, communities is on the rise. People are becoming lovers of self, lovers of money, And we must be mindful of these things. Not operate out of fear. For the Most High is not giving us a spirit of fear, but of power and of love and of sound mind. So it is vital that we utilize our resources to make sure that our community is good. So, let's be diligent. Let's realize that in these times, with Bitcoin just surpassing silver, the asset that has been used as a store of value for centuries, Bitcoin just passed the silver market capitalization. It's now the world's 8th largest asset and the 2nd largest commodity. That tells me that who's next? What asset class is next? And institutions are not going to stop putting money into these Bitcoin ETFs, and because now it's regulated, it's starting to get regulated, y'all. We're getting clarity. That means that the big whales, the Fidelities, the JP Morgan Chases, the BlackRocks, they can come out with their products. And that is only going to grow the space. I think we saw it today, it's at $3.1 trillion, $3.07 trillion is what the global cryptocurrency market cap is at. And there was an article done by Forbes. Let me see if I can find it and post it in here for y'all, where it mentions a $15 trillion cryptocurrency space. A new wave, it says. A new wave. Major bank reveals a $15 trillion earthquake could be headed for the Bitcoin, Ethereum, BNB, XRP, Cardano, Solana price. I'm going to drop it in the chat for y'all. This is Forbes, the people who just always talk about money. And we got billionaires talking about how Bitcoin, 6 months after, it's going to be at 99,000. It's at 91 right now. And then 9 months, 238. Be wise with your investing. Be wise with how you're utilizing your resources. This is not the time to play, y'all. This is the time. We are really living in the great wealth transfer. And as we are seeing the older generation start to give their wealth to younger generations, I believe it's 50 trillion, it's in the trillions, the amount of money that is being inherited. And what are individuals going to be utilizing this money for? Maybe they want to buy a new house, maybe they want to buy a new car, but most individuals are just going to allow for it. They're going to say, okay, well, I got 30, 40 more years left. So how am I going to live off this? Well, let me just go ahead and put it in an asset class that is going to, be relatively stable over these next 40 years so that I can get dividends on a monthly basis and I can make sure my bills are paid on a monthly basis. We are seeing that the Bitcoin ETF is providing that, as well as a lot of gains. So be mindful of all these gains that are being seen. And for me, I want to take part in these gains. So that's why I have me a diverse digital asset portfolio of these ISO 2022 coins and a couple other meme coins. I'm into some meme coins. Yes, I said it. I'm into some meme coins. And I'm not, those are not my long-term plays. Those are my short-term plays. I said, oh, once you get here, oh, it's a wrap. Oh, that's what I did not talk about. Excuse me. Forgive me, guys. Forgive me. Let me get into this because this is really, really, really important. Your exit strategy is vital. It is vital. And I kind of hinted on this. But understand your reason for getting into crypto and understand when it is going to be time for you to get out of crypto or out of a certain position. Seriously, this is a great question that we must be asking ourselves. What's the use, first off, of me investing? And what's the use case of this crypto as well, if you're taking notes? And where am I going to take profit? Great question. This is a very, very important question to be asking yourself in regards to investing in cryptocurrency. Because you see, there's been memes on the internet which talks about, oh man, it's like I see my GameStop account is up 100,000%, and I take a screenshot of it. but I'm not going to sell because I think it can still go up. And then you'll wake up and it's gone, it's back down. Having an exit strategy is key. And understanding where you are going to take profit is key. For example, I'll give you guys an example. In my Robinhood, I have Stellar Lumens, XLM, that we talked about, that was at 100%. Was it? The gains are at like 100%. I'm not going to go back to it. The gains are at 100%. And I have 1,100 Stellar Lumens. Now, with these 1,100 Stellar Lumens, I have a design for these 1,100 Stellar Lumens. I have more Stellar Lumens, but these 1,100 Stellar Lumens that I have on Robinhood, my plan for them is to sell when Stellar Lumens reaches a certain price target. What is that price target, Elijah? And that's what I had to ask myself. Where are you going to be okay with selling the Stellar Lumens? What is the use of this Stellar Lumens? And what I had to come to the realization of is that it is from the range of $3.50 to $5. Now, how long that's going to take, I don't know. But that is when I plan to sell the Stellar Lumens that are on my Robinhood account. Why? Because I realized that I'm like, okay, I want about $8,000 to $10,000 from this these gains right here. Now, it's going to take a minute. It's going to take a minute. It's okay. Patience is key. But once it reaches that level, boom, we're done. We are done with that crypto. And I'm selling it because it has a purpose. And that purpose is to pay off some debt. Okay? And it's important to have a purpose for your crypto for after. Now, for example, my big boys, my bigger bags, which includes Stellar Lumens, but XRP, and what else do I have? Cardano. Those, I am not touching those until they reach very high price levels. Why? Because the purpose for those is for me to be able to purchase land, for me to be able to purchase businesses, and to be able to purchase resources. So it's important to have a purpose for your crypto. Ask yourself the question, what price does this crypto need to get to for me to be able to get out of this space? Very, very important. Ask yourself that question as you are investing, and not just with cryptocurrency, but with in general. So sorry I forgot to touch on that, but the exit strategy is extremely key, and it really ties in the idea of investing with purpose. What is the reason that you are investing? Is it that you just want a yacht? You just want to be a crypto millionaire and have a whole lot of chains and, go ball out in the club? Let that be your purpose. If that's your reasoning for wanting to do it, okay. If it's to build generational wealth and to give an inheritance to your children's children, then let that be your purpose for investing in cryptocurrency. I'm not one to judge. I have my purpose. I mentioned it. That's what I'm doing. That's what I'm focused on. And that's also why I'm a long-term investor with my crypto. Now, I do have my short-term investments, which are, a little bit less, with the meme coins. And once those bad boys hit, I'm telling y'all, I'm getting out of my positions. I'm not holding. I'm not hodling, holding on for dear life. I'm getting out. I am getting out. So I hope that this live, helps your perspective on understanding why it is so vital to invest with crypto with a purpose. Hope that it gave you a little bit more insight as to where we're at in the crypto space as well, and what is on the horizon. I don't believe that the majority of crypto coins are going to be around. And once regulations come, a lot are going to just go away. But be mindful. Be mindful. And listen, I'm not one to really look deep into technical analysis on a daily basis. So please don't take my advice on that. I'm not a day trader. I'm not even a monthly trader. Like I told you, I'm long term. But I just mentioned that because I'm looking at Bitcoin's all-time high at 92,000, which it recently just hit, but now it's at 90,000. So what does that tell me? That it's trying to find a bottom that is support. That's a support level. So check out some other YouTubers. I listen to this guy named Zach Rector. He's pretty good with his technical analysis, or he mentions other people. Twitter has quite a few people who do technical analysis. But if you're going to be trading on a daily basis, I would definitely encourage you to be looking at technical analysis. People who are being thorough in their reasoning, in their analysis of cryptos, in their charting, and are reasonable. Well, that's all I have. If there are any questions or any comments, please, I greatly appreciate all the interactions. Yes, living after 50. Yes, I thank you for just showing some love and being okay right here. I will do my best to study and to not steer anyone wrong, and truly just be led by the Most High. Shout out to my grandma. Shout out to everyone else who watched and tuned in today. I love y'all, and I thank y'all for tuning in. Make sure you guys stay tuned to the Moneypot channel, as we'll be just putting out more content. Not necessarily on cryptocurrency, because crypto is cool, but there's a lot more to life. There's a lot more important things to talk about. Like, dislike, share, subscribe. Do what you do, but we appreciate you. And until next video, make sure that you stay blessed, stay healthy, stay prayed up. Peace. Uh-oh.